Have you ever actually stopped to, like, really think about the anatomy of a lie?
Oh, here we go.
No, listen, not the little white lies, like telling someone you love their haircut when it literally looks like a tragedy. The massive life-altering lies.
Right. The ones that ruin your credit score.
Exactly. Because what is truly fascinating and honestly kind of terrifying is that the explosion that ruins your life rarely comes from the original lie itself, you know?
Right, it's the cover-up.
Yes. The explosion always comes from the paper trail you leave behind while you're trying to cover it up. It is the hesitation, the silence when you are finally confronted that actually burns the entire house down.
It is the absolute worst.
And babes, if there is one thing we learned from television this week, it is that you cannot outrun your own paper trail.
Welcome back to the Snark side. I am so unbelievably thankful, so grateful, and honestly just so incredibly blessed to have you here hanging out with us today.
It really is like a mutual trauma bond at this point. It totally is. You are the only ones who truly understand the absolute spirals we go on, and we love you for it.
We spiral, you listen, you validate our complete and utter delusions, and the beautiful cycle just continues. But seriously, welcome back. We have a lot of psychological mess to unpack today, and we need to ground ourselves before we completely lose our minds.
We really do, because let me just set the scene for you right now, babes. It is Saturday morning, April 26th, 2026. The weekend shenanigans are officially commencing as we speak.
The microphones are hot.
They are hot, and the iced coffees are quite literally sweating profusely on the table between us.
Sweating heavily. And before you even ask, yes, the order is completely chaotic today.
Totally unhinged.
We went with hazelnut, an offensive, legally questionable amount of extra syrup, and an extra shot of espresso.
It is aggressive, but I mean, it is necessary for the emotional labor we are about to undertake.
Exactly.
It is the nectar of the gods. I need you to hear the ice clinking right now. Ah, divine. That is the sound of pure, unadulterated weekend freedom. Because, babes, for the next 48 hours,
Oh boy.
we are officially stepping into our soft girl era. We are claiming it right now.
Well, we are certainly trying to claim it. We are putting the intention out into the universe. But let's see exactly how long this so-called soft life actually lasts before one of us completely spirals over something entirely insignificant.
Hey, I refuse to accept that negative energy today.
The track record is just not in our favor, I'm just saying.
I don't care because, babes, listen to me. No work. Goodbye dentistry. Hello weekend.
The teeth are safely put away.
Do you know how many teeth I have had to look at this week? Do you know the sheer exhausting level of flossing lectures I have had to deliver to grown adults who look me dead in the eyes and lie to my face?
I all lie. Every single one of them.
They literally say they floss every day and their gums are actively bleeding. I deserve this peace. We deserve this peace. We are stepping into the light.
I'll absolutely give you that.
Yeah.
The amount of plaque you have legally had to interact with this week does warrant a severe mental health break. But the pivot from the sterile environment of drilling and filling to this soft life fantasy is always a very precarious tightrope walk for us.
We are fully committing. Let it be delusional. Let it be fun. We have wine planned for this evening. We are cosplaying as soft, unbothered women who, like, sleep on silk pillowcases and never raise their voices.
Which is completely false, but sure.
Because, babes, the plan after we finish recording today, facials.
Oh, the facials.
Yeah.
The absolute height of our financial irresponsibility this week.
But are you mad about it?
I am not even remotely mad about.
I'm so pumped I could actually cry. Just thinking about the steam blowing onto my face, the dim lighting, the Enya music playing softly in the background.
Yes.
Someone just rubbing ungodly expensive serums into my jawline while I lay there and pretend I have my entire life totally and completely together.
There is truly nothing quite like paying a stranger a ridiculous amount of money to violently extract your blackheads while simultaneously judging your entire skincare routine.
Right.
It's incredibly humbling, but it's relaxing.
It is so necessary. Think about the last time we did a real self-care excursion.
The head spa.
The head spa. Babes, the head spa was a religious experience. I literally saw the face of God while they were massaging my scalp with that little silicone brush.
It was borderline spiritual, I'll admit.
It was amazing, which is exactly why we looked at each other this week and said, we need to level up. We need the facials.
Right. But here is where the soft life starts to show some immediate cracks.
Wait, what?
Because theoretically, the facials are going to leave us glowing, zen, and completely stripped of our worldly anxieties, which is great until you factor in the evening plans.
Oh my God, wait, my chest is getting tight. Why did you bring this up?
See? Here we go. The spiral commences.
Should we reschedule the facials for Sunday?
And there it is.
Because I just remembered what we are doing tonight. We are going to that wine and cheese tasting with our mother.
The mothers.
Babes! The mothers! The anxiety alone from spending 3 hours in a confined space with our mothers is going to cause an immediate cystic breakout on my chin.
Probably, yeah.
I can physically feel the cortisol surging through my veins right now.
Yes, because nothing screams soft life. Like willingly walking into a maternal guilt trip over a plate of smoked Gouda.
Literally.
The facials are going to be completely and instantly undone the second your mother looks at your outfit, does that little up and down glance and goes, oh, so that's what we're wearing now.
I am going to hyperventilate. They're going to ask us about our savings accounts.
Oh, 100%.
They're going to ask why we aren't married yet. They're going to make passive-aggressive comments about the amount of sodium in the artisanal crackers. I need the facials to act as a physical shield against their psychological warfare.
The facials will be our armor. But we need to regulate our nervous systems right now. Let's pivot.
Okay. Deep breaths.
Let's ground ourselves in the present moment before the cortisol does permanent damage.
You're right. Deep breaths. Let's shift the energy. Because, babes, the snacks are out.
Thank God.
And I am not talking about a sad little bowl of unsalted almonds. We are currently munching on a massive, unholy box of donut holes.
They are heavily glazed. They are structurally protein.
They're soft. They are sugary. They are literally divine. I have eaten 5 in the last 10 minutes with absolutely zero regrets.
I noticed.
The powdered sugar is getting everywhere. It is on the microphone cables, and I do not care.
I am watching you eat them at a pace that is, frankly, alarming, but I support it. The sugar crash is going to be absolutely spectacular around hour 3 of today's recording.
Cheers to Duncan. Honestly, Duncan babes, if you are listening to this right now, hit us up.
Please.
We are loyal. We are heavily caffeinated. We need a podcast sponsor so we can fund these facials and our inevitable therapy bills after the mother-daughter wine tasting tonight.
Send us an email. We will gladly accept payment in the form of iced coffee IV drips.
Seriously.
But for now, let's settle into these chairs, let the espresso do its magic, and transition into the absolute disaster zone that is our television recap for the week.
I am so ready. I am caffeinated. I am slightly delusional, and I am ready for the mess. Babes, it is time to talk about Sullivan's Crossing.
It is time.
Season 4, episodes 3 and 4. We are avid viewers, we are massive fans of the math, and we have been absolutely dying to unpack what in the world happened this week.
The level of dysfunction in this fictional town is honestly the only thing currently making me feel better about my own life. Let's start with episode 3, Northern Lights.
Okay, before we even get to the romance, the lies, the profound betrayal, we have to talk about the true MVP of this entire series. The return of Edna.
Oh, Edna.
The true boss of the outpost.
Edna is the only person in Timberlake with a fully functioning frontal lobe.
Exactly. I was so hyped seeing her back at the outpost. She just had surgery, babes. She is recovering.
Literally just had an operation.
And she literally looks up at the sky, sees the aurora borealis, and instead of just enjoying the beauty of nature, she takes it as a cosmic sign from the universe that she needs to get back to work. Who does that? That is top-tier, unhinged work ethic. She's just like, the sky is green, time to go balance the ledgers.
Let's analyze the psychology of Edna for a second. She's bossy, she's an absolute busybody, but analytically speaking, she's the only one actually getting things done in this entire town.
She carries the whole town on her back.
Without Edna, the outpost would financially collapse in 48 hours.
Yeah.
Sully has gone on a bender in Ireland. Maggie is having a prolonged identity crisis. And Cal is too busy brooding and building picnic tables.
It's so true.
Edna is holding the local economy together with sheer, terrifying willpower. Her need to work isn't just a strong work ethic. It's a profound need for control in a town full of incredibly unstable people.
She really is the glue. But, okay, we haven't talked about that one scene. You know the exact one.
I know exactly which one you mean.
Where Edna decides she is going to meddle in the drama, so she turns to Frank, her husband, and she literally just orders him. She says, go find out why Liam is really here.
And Frank, who is ostensibly a grown man with his own free will, just looks at her, hastily says, okay, and literally turns around and walks off into the woods.
Into the woods. To go interrogate a stranger.
Just completely submits to the command.
I was screaming. I had to pause the television. It was so funny. He didn't even question it. He didn't ask how he was supposed to find that out.
No follow-up questions whatsoever.
He didn't ask for a strategy. He was just like, yes, Commander, initiating spy protocol.
It was peak television writing, the most hilariously unrealistic exchange I have ever witnessed. Just a woman commanding her husband to go do covert reconnaissance on a random Canadian journalist.
And he's just like, okay, honey.
And the husband just accepting his fate as an espionage agent. But that's Edna. She demands results, and Frank knows better than to ask follow-up questions.
She really does. And speaking of people doing chaotic things, we got a little bit of side character chaos this episode that we absolutely need to touch on. Maggie just randomly deciding to go get a butterfly tattoo on her back.
A butterfly tattoo. In the year 2026.
I loved it. I love the impulsivity. She is stressed. Her estranged husband is back in town. Her boyfriend is confused. Her career is hanging by a thread.
So she gets a tramp stamp.
No, it's not a tramp stamp. It was higher up. So what does she do? She goes to a local tattoo parlor and gets a butterfly. It is such a classic early 2000s mental breakdown response. I fully support her right to make impulsive bodily decisions.
I am questioning the cliche of it all. A butterfly? Really? I'm emerging from my cocoon of trauma. It's a bit heavy-handed, isn't it?
I thought it was cute.
But psychologically, it makes perfect sense. When people feel like their entire life is spiraling out of their control, they seek out physical pain or body modification to regain a sense of autonomy.
Totally.
She can't control Liam showing up, she can't control the clinic politics, but she can control the needle going into her skin. If she really wanted to be edgy, though, she should have gotten a tattoo of a fax machine, considering that is what ends up destroying her life later in the episode.
Oh my God, do not jump ahead. We will get to the fax machine of doom. But first, we also had Cal catching Ben stealing Dr. Quincy's watch.
Right. Ben, who is supposed to be working, is out here running a petty theft ring at the outpost.
And Cal catches him dead to rights. But then, because Cal is Cal, he lets Ben keep his job after Ben confesses and apologizes. Which, honestly, melted my heart.
Of course it did.
Cal is such a good guy. He is always looking out for the underdog.
Let's pause and analyze Cal's nice guy complex for a second, because it is becoming a major liability. Cal is pathologically incapable of setting a firm boundary.
He's just sweet.
Someone steals a luxury watch from a guest at your establishment. That is a massive legal liability issue. You fire them.
Yeah.
But Cal wants to be the savior. He wants to rehabilitate everyone he meets.
He sees the good in people.
He thinks he can fix Ben with kindness, just like he thinks he can fix Maggie with picnics. It's sweet on a personal level, but it is terrible management and borderline codependent.
You are so ruthless. He was giving a struggling kid a second chance. But you know who isn't getting a second chance with the fans? Rafe.
Oh, absolutely not.
Because we need to talk about the online chatter right now regarding Syd and Amir.
The fan forums are completely ablaze.
The Snark squad is losing their absolute minds. People are saying that Syd and Amir had more sexual tension and chemistry in one single moment of eye contact than Sydney had with Rafe over 3 entire seasons.
It's true. The bar was on the floor with Rafe, let's be honest. It was a chemistry black hole.
Literally a black hole.
But the enemies to lovers trope they are setting up with Syd and Amir is actually working. Mostly because Sydney perpetually looks like a deer caught in the headlights. Have you noticed that?
Oh my God.
She constantly looks terrified of her own shadow.
She does. She always looks like she just remembered she left the stove on in 2019 and is still stressing about it. But Amir was giving her that look, that very specific, intense, focused look. And I was like, okay, spark. We have a spark.
A tiny spark, but yes.
We love to see it. But let's get back to the main mess. Let's head down to the water.
The fateful meeting by the shoreline. Maggie and Liam.
So Maggie finds Liam by the water, and honestly, it was surprisingly civil. They actually talked like two adults for a brief, fleeting moment. Maggie apologizes for being cold when he first arrived, and Liam is like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have just shown up in person unannounced to hand you divorce papers.
You think, Liam? You think you shouldn't have materialized out of the misty woods like a ghost of trauma past?
Literally.
He has absolutely zero self-awareness. He acts like showing up unannounced after 6 years of radio silence is just a minor social faux pas, like forgetting to bring wine to a dinner party.
But babes, I couldn't even focus on his least of self-awareness because my eyes were entirely zeroed in on his back.
The scars.
Maggie notices these massive keloid scars on his back, and she asks him about them, and he totally, completely dodges the question. He shuts down. He puts a wall right back up.
Which is classic Liam behavior. The man is a walking, breathing vault of withheld information.
I am spiraling about the scars. What is his damage? Why are they keloid? That means they healed poorly or without proper medical attention.
Right.
Was he attacked by a bear? Was he in a tragic journalism accident in a war zone? Did he fall off a cliff while trying to take a photo of a rare bird? Why is he so relentlessly mysterious?
Because the writers fundamentally understand that a brooding, physically scarred man who refuses to talk about his feelings is absolute catnip to the audience.
It totally is.
He is weaponizing his mystery. If he just said, "Oh, I fell off a roof," the intrigue is gone. By refusing to answer, he forces Maggie and the audience to project their own romantic, tragic narratives onto him.
Well, it's working. Because I'm going to make a hot take right now, and you can judge me, the entire Snark squad can judge me, I do not care.
I'm ready to judge.
Marcus Rosner, the actor who plays Liam, is looking distractingly good this season. Like, unfairly aggressively handsome. He is standing by the water looking like a rugged lumberjack catalog model, and I was getting a little confused about my loyalties.
I will read the room. I will read the online fan opinions because I am seeing the exact same things circulating on the internet right now. The overwhelming consensus is that Liam is making Chad Michael Murray, our beloved foundational Cal, look a little scrawny in comparison.
I know, people are saying it. It feels like blasphemy. Cal is our king. He is One Tree Hill royalty. He is the blueprint.
He is.
But Liam is built like a brick house. When they are standing next to each other in these scenes, it's a very stark physical contrast.
It's the battle of the jawlines and the flannel shirts. But physical attributes aside, we need to move to the main event of episode 3, the climax. The moment everything shatters. The Northern Lights Picnic of Doom.
The Picnic of Doom. Babes, let me set the scene, because aesthetically it was stunning. It was everything you want in a romance.
Visually, yes.
Maggie looks absolutely gorgeous. The fans were completely obsessed with her outfit, this beautiful white top, the flowing skirt, and that incredible heavy green robe. She looked like an ethereal woodland fairy princess.
She did look great.
And Cal, being the perfect, attentive boyfriend with the aforementioned savior complex, sets up this incredibly romantic picnic under the aurora borealis.
Blankets, perfectly curated snacks, the glowing green sky. It was a mood board brought to life. It was peak romantic engineering.
But then the twist. The absolute dagger to the heart. Edna, our beloved, efficient Edna, accidentally leaves faxed papers from Maggie's divorce lawyer sitting out in the open at the outpost.
Classic Edna move.
First of all, let's just address the elephant in the room. Who on earth is faxing legal documents in the year 2026?
Lawyers. Lawyers, government agencies, and Edna. It is a completely antiquated technology, but it serves a vital narrative purpose.
So true.
An email goes straight to your phone, totally private. A fax sits in a communal tray, completely exposed to anyone walking by. It is the perfect vehicle for accidental discovery.
It is so messy. So Cal, who goes back inside the outpost to get more blankets because he just wants Maggie to be warm and cozy, just happens to look down at the communal desk, and he reads these legal documents.
As one does.
And he discovers the lie. The massive, glaring, undeniable lie. Maggie told him that she married Liam and got it annulled immediately. Like, oops, silly weekend mistake, annulled on Monday.
A tiny little oops.
But the paperwork says she didn't annul the marriage immediately. She waited a whole entire year.
365 days. That is not a quick, drunken mistake in Vegas. That is an entire tax cycle. That is 4 seasons.
I reacted so emotionally to this. I was literally screaming at my television, Maggie, girl, what are you doing?
Leaving a literal paper trail.
Why are we leaving a paper trail of our lies where our boyfriend can just casually find it while grabbing a Pendleton blanket? And more importantly, why did you lie in the first place?
Let's break down the mechanics of the confrontation, because the tonal shift in this scene was an absolute masterclass. Cal walks back out to the picnic. He has the blankets, but he is completely off balance.
The vibe was ruined.
The romantic facade drops instantly. He holds all the cards now, and he just looks at her, the northern lights glowing behind him, and asks, very quietly, very calmly, when are you going to tell me what really happened?
My stomach plummeted to the floor.
And what does Maggie do? How does she handle this crucial moment of truth? She gives him absolute, deafening silence. She freezes like a deer in the headlights.
Ugh, the silence.
She doesn't explain. She doesn't apologize. She just stares at him.
Okay, but let me push back. Let me defend my girl Maggie for a second. She panicked. Trauma does that to you.
Here we go.
When you have a profound trauma response tied to an abandonment wound, and the person you currently love confronts you with a lie you told out of pure shame, your brain completely short circuits. It's the fight, flight, or freeze response, and she froze.
She definitely flows.
She couldn't speak because she was suffocating in her own embarrassment. It wasn't malicious.
That is a very empathetic, highly forgiving, soft girl reading of the situation. Let me give you the analytical, real-world reading of that silence. Cal deserves so much better. He's been nothing but patient, supportive, and communicative with her from day one. And Maggie is dragging him, kicking and screaming, into her toxic, unresolved vortex of drama.
He knew she was messy.
She lied directly to his face. She minimized a 1-year legally binding marriage into a weekend mistake to make herself look better. That is a massive breach of trust, and her silence in that moment was cowardice, not just a trauma response. She was hoping if she stayed quiet, the problem would just evaporate.
Oh, you are so harsh. You're so incredibly shady.
I am grounded in reality. Someone has to advocate for Cal's sanity in this relationship. He's drowning in her unresolved baggage.
Okay, fine. But that silence, that terrible, heavy silence, is exactly what connects us into the delusion of Episode 4, Gut Instincts. Because the narrative transitions directly from that silent, awful picnic into Maggie's massive, tearful breakdown.
She finally breaks the silence, and the floodgates completely open.
She does. She finally signs the divorce papers, and she is just sobbing to Cal. She confesses everything she was holding back.
The whole truth, supposedly.
She says she knew Liam for a month. They got married, and then he just left for a job and completely, utterly disappeared. She never heard from him again. No text, no call, nothing.
Ghosted by her own husband.
She tells Cal, I felt so stupid. I completely lost myself in that man. I was ready to uproot my entire life for him. She explains that she was so deeply, fundamentally ashamed of being abandoned that she lied about how long it took her to file the annulment.
Right.
She waited a year hoping he would come back, and then at the end of this emotional purge, she looks Cal in the eyes and promises no more secrets.
Oh, please. I am betting actual, real-world money that she has at least 3 more catastrophic secrets currently chambered and ready to fire.
You don't believe her.
No more secrets is the famous last phrase of every single reality TV star and small-town drama protagonist before they drop another thermonuclear secret on their partner. I do not buy it for a second. It is a pacifier she is handing Cal to keep him around.
But babes, I felt so deeply for her. Her embarrassment was so palpable through the scream. Put yourself in her shoes.
I'm trying.
Imagine thinking you found the absolute love of your life, marrying him in a whirlwind romance, and he just ghosts you. For 6 years, that level of profound rejection would completely rewire your brain.
It would be awful, yes.
It would destroy your self-esteem. Waiting a year to file the papers isn't a lie of malice. It's a monument to her broken hope.
It would completely rewire your brain, absolutely. It is a devastating thing to happen to a person. But trauma explains behavior. It does not excuse making your current partner pay the heavy toll for your past partner's crimes.
I mean, true.
Anyway, Cal, because he is an absolute glutton for punishment and physically cannot stop himself from acting as the town's savior, offers to hand-deliver the newly signed divorce papers to Liam. He volunteers to act as the courier.
And this is where I start screaming at my television all over again. Cal takes the papers to Liam. All Liam has to do is sign his name on the dotted line, and this entire 6-year nightmare is legally over.
One signature.
But what does Liam do? Does he sign them? No. He refuses to sign them immediately. He looks at Cal, holding the papers that he explicitly came to town to get, and claims he needs time to read them over.
A stunning, almost sociopathic display of stalling tactics.
The fans online are so incredibly sick of this. I'm sick of it. They are dragging this I have to tell her the truth storyline out for so painfully long.
They really are.
Let's examine the logic here. Liam literally thought these papers were signed and finalized 6 years ago. He showed up asking for a copy of the annulment. So why this sudden dramatic hesitation? What is there to read?
Nothing.
It's a standard divorce decree, you absolute psycho. You aren't negotiating alimony. You have been gone for 6 years. Just sign the paper.
He is hesitating on a meta level because the plot requires him to hesitate to stretch the tension to the finale. But on a character level, it shows exactly how manipulative he is.
So manipulative.
He is dangling this closure just out of Maggie's reach to maintain his power in the dynamic. But I will say, this insufferable stalling gave us the absolute best Cal moment of the entire season.
Oh my God, yes.
Cal finally snaps. He calls Liam out directly to his face. He says follow-through isn't exactly your strong suit, is it? He verbally eviscerates Liam for his lack of action, for his cowardice, and for ruining Maggie's life.
It was amazing.
I physically applauded in my living room.
Yeah.
Cal finally grew a backbone and stopped being the passive, accommodating nice guy.
Yes. Go off, Cal. Put that lumberjack in his place. It was so satisfying. But babes, while the boys are having a testosterone-fueled standoff over legal paperwork in the woods, Maggie is dealing with an absolute disaster back at the clinic.
We have to pivot and talk about Dr. Quincy.
Dr. Quincy, the walking embodiment of medical hubris.
So Maggie is shadowing this guy because she needs his sign-off to get her medical license transferred to Canada.
Yeah.
And from the very first jump, Quincy is so aggressively arrogant.
He's the worst.
He is demanding. He tells her to strictly follow his lead. He treats her like she is a clueless first-year undergrad instead of a fully trained, highly skilled neurosurgeon from Boston. It's a classic, textbook power dynamic struggle. He is intimidated by her credentials, so he overcompensates by treating her like an intern.
But then it gets incredibly serious. Cal brings Tracy into the clinic. Tracy is the little girl, Edna's grandkid. She is struggling to breathe, she is wheezing, and Ben is with them.
And Quincy completely fumbles it.
Quincy walks in, takes one superficial look at her, barely does a physical assessment, and dismisses it as a simple asthma flare-up. He orders a nebulizer treatment and just turns around and leaves the room.
Because why actually investigate a patient's symptoms when your fragile ego tells you that you are right on the very first glance?
Exactly. So they give her the nebulizer, and Tracy starts heavily panicking. Her breathing gets visibly worse. Quincy saunters back in, realizes the kid is spiraling, and who does he immediately blame?
Maggie, of course.
He blames Maggie. He yells at her for not calming a child down, and he has the audacity to question her entire residency training.
He deflects his own glaring medical negligence directly onto the subordinate female doctor. It's a tale as old as time in corporate and medical environments.
I was absolutely furious on Maggie's behalf. Maggie steps up, keeps her cool, and suggests, very professionally, that based on the fact that the nebulizer made it worse, it might actually be GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease.
Because she actually knows what she's doing.
Because the symptoms of GERD can mimic asthma, but the treatment is completely different. And Quincy literally throws a tantrum. A grown man, a medical professional, throws a tantrum.
With literal baby.
He rants about trusting his instincts and tells Maggie she needs to fall in line and stop questioning him. He is a classic textbook example of a dangerously fragile male ego.
He is a menace. But let's analyze the politics of this situation, because that is where the real tension lies.
Yeah.
Maggie is 100% right clinically. She has the data on her side.
Right.
But she's fundamentally failing the political game of the clinic. If she wants her medical license in this province, she physically needs Quincy's signature on her evaluation.
Which is so unfair.
She needs to learn how to massage that fragile ego to get what she wants. She can't just bulldoze him with her big city neurosurgeon intellect and make him look stupid in front of patients, even if he is objectively wrong. Small-town politics, especially in insular professional settings, run entirely on pride, not just competence.
You are so cynical. You want her to play the political game and stroke his ego while a child literally suffers with misdiagnosed GERD. That violates the Hippocratic Oath.
I want her to get her license so she isn't financially dependent on sweeping the floors at a Woodland General store.
Right.
I am being entirely pragmatic. You have to survive the system before you can change it.
Ugh, the stress of it all. Which brings us perfectly to the grand finale of anxiety for this week, the cliffhanger of episode 4. Babes, let's unpack the final 5 minutes because my blood pressure is still remarkably high just thinking about it.
It was a rapid-fire sequence of narrative interruptions designed to maximize viewer frustration.
So Frank, fulfilling his duties as Edna's spy, goes and talks to Liam. He warns Liam, do not hurt Maggie again. A very stern, protective father figure moment that was actually quite touching.
That's fine, yeah.
Then we cut to Liam alone. He pulls out a weathered wedding photo from his wallet.
Which implies he has just been carrying around a photo of the woman he ghosted for 6 consecutive years.
Yeah.
Totally normal, healthy behavior for a well-adjusted adult.
Right. We get this soft, romantic flashback to their wedding, and Maggie is looking at him with so much hope, saying, I will always love you. And right at that emotional peak, right as Liam is looking at the photo, his phone rings.
Perfect timing, as always.
A mysterious phone call. He answers it, looks around shiftily, and says, I've been waiting for your call, and then mutters that he needs to tell Maggie something before they proceed. Who is on the phone?
A government handler. A secret second family in Vancouver. His literary agent. The options are endless, and all of them are shady.
So, Liam, finally spurred into action by this mysterious caller, goes to find Maggie. He corners her and says he wants to explain exactly why he ghosted her.
I know.
And babes, Maggie shuts him down so hard, and I was cheering in my living room. She looks at him and says, I thought you were dead. Then I thought I just wasn't exciting enough for you. But I am happy with Cal now.
Shut him right down.
She completely, unequivocally rejects his explanation. She denies him the catharsis of unburdening his guilt.
Which forces him to panic, because his timeline is suddenly accelerated and he tries to force the explanation out anyway.
He opens his mouth, takes a breath. He is about to finally drop the massive bomb we have been waiting 4 entire episodes for, and Cal calls Maggie's phone.
Of course he does.
Tracy is burning up with a massive fever back at the outpost. Maggie drops everything, goes into doctor mode and runs off, and the episode ends. They cut to black.
Yep.
They interrupted the reveal again. The TV writers are literally playing in our faces. They are mocking our dedication.
It is soap opera pacing 101. It is textbook narrative withholding. They will dangle that carrot of truth just out of reach until the season finale, and you will keep tuning in every single week, completely enraged but fully seated on your couch.
I hate that you are so right. I am a victim of my own curiosity. Okay, babes, we need to take a breath. Take a massive sip of your iced coffee. Let the hazelnut syrup completely reset your brain chemistry. Because we are moving into the deeper thematic discussions. We need to unpack the psychology of this town.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the overarching theme of these 2 episodes, which is the illusion of authenticity. Small towns are always pitched as these bastions of genuine, honest living, but let's look at the reality. Who is actually being genuine in Timberlake, and who is just hiding their true motives?
Because as we have established, everyone in this town is hiding something behind a cozy flannel shirt and a steaming cup of artisanal coffee. The aesthetic is incredibly soft, but the reality is deeply, profoundly deceptive.
Highly deceptive.
Let's unpack it. I want to start with my emotional reaction first, focusing on Maggie.
Defend her honor. Proceed.
I genuinely believe that Maggie thinks she is being authentic. I don't think she is a calculated liar. When she cries to Cal by the lake, when she finally signs the divorce papers, she truly believes she is giving him 100% of her truth in that moment.
Okay, but...
No, let me finish. But her trauma is physically making her hold back the ugliest parts of her reality. She's operating entirely out of a primal fear of abandonment. She lied about the timeline of the annulment because if she tells the absolute truth that she waited a year for a man who didn't want her, she is terrified. Cal will see her as broken, pathetic, and leave her too. It's not malicious deception. It's a frantic attempt at self-preservation. She is genuine in her love for Cal, but she's terrified of her own history.
That is a very generous, empathetic read, and I think it is partially true. But let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's look at Liam. If Maggie is holding back out of fear, Liam is holding back out of calculated strategy.
Okay, I agree with that.
Liam is weaponizing his mysterious, damaged, quiet guy act to hold back the truth and keep Maggie permanently on the hook.
Weaponizing. I love that word for him. It is exactly what he is doing.
It's true. Look at his behavior patterns. He speaks almost exclusively in half sentences. He stares off into the middle distance instead of making eye contact. He refuses to sign standard legal documents under the guise of needing time.
It's infuriating.
He is actively manufacturing a puzzle so that Maggie is forced to keep trying to solve him. If he just sat down and gave her the unvarnished truth, the mystery would evaporate, the tension would break, and she might actually be able to move on with Cal. But by withholding the truth, by keeping the secret locked away, he remains the most important unresolved issue in her entire life.
Oh, wow.
It is highly manipulative. He is hoarding the truth to maintain his relevance.
Oh my God, you are completely blowing my mind right now. He is trauma bonding her through suspense. By never giving her closure, he ensures she can never fully close the door. But wait, let me push back on you. Let me ask you a question about our supposed golden boy. What about Cal? Do you think Cal is actually as genuine and pure as he acts? Because sometimes I look at him constantly fixing things, constantly saving people, and I think, is he really this nice, or is he playing the savior role just to keep Maggie dependent on him?
That is the million-dollar psychological question of the entire series. Let's analyze Cal's savior complex versus his genuine nice guy exhaustion. I do think Cal's baseline is a good, genuine person. He is a caretaker, but he is absolutely addicted to being needed.
It really really is.
Look at his actions. He took in Ben, the watch thief, instead of firing him. He constantly steps in to manage the outpost when Sully is gone, taking on responsibilities that aren't his. He sets up these elaborate, beautiful picnics to soothe Maggie's anxiety. He derives his entire sense of self-worth from being the sturdy, unshakable foundation for broken people.
So you're saying he subconsciously wants Maggie to stay a little bit broken so he can keep fixing her?
I am saying that a fully healed, fully independent Maggie who has her medical license and her own practice might actually deeply intimidate Cal. When she no longer needs him to save her from her panic attacks, will he still feel as valuable to her?
Oh my gosh.
His explosive frustration at the picnic wasn't just about the lie she told. It was about the sudden, terrifying realization that he doesn't have total control over the narrative of her healing. He realized she is messy in ways he can't fix with a blanket and a sandwich.
Babes, the psychology, the layers. We need an advanced degree to unpack this show. But that brings up another huge question about the vibe of the crossing itself. Is this town actually peaceful? Or are these characters just settling because they are completely terrified of the real world?
Comfort versus complacency. It is a thin, dangerous line.
Exactly. Maggie claims she is happy now with Cal. She literally looked Liam in the face and declared her happiness. But I have to question, is that true, deep happiness? Or is it just a trauma response? Is she just seeking a harbor because she is tired of the storm?
I will challenge you on this immediately because I think the answer is glaringly obvious.
No.
Maggie is settling. Hard.
No.
She is settling for Cal because he is safe, he is entirely predictable, and frankly, he is a little bit boring. Liam, on the other hand, represents the chaotic, unbridled passion she actually craves deep down.
Oh, no.
Look at her history. She married a man she knew for a month. She is impulsive. Cal is a comfortable, reliable pair of sweatpants, but she is fundamentally a woman who wants to wear a sequin gown. She is being incredibly complacent with Cal because she is scared of getting hurt again.
I completely, utterly disagree. I will defend Maggie's choice to the death on this. After being abandoned by your father as a child, and then abandoned by your husband who vanishes into thin air for 6 entire years, choosing safety is comfort. It is growth. Yes, there is absolutely nothing wrong with looking at your chaotic, exhausting life and saying, I want a stable, boring man who chops wood, makes me coffee, and doesn't disappear on secret journalism missions. That isn't settling, that is maturing. She is finally prioritizing her nervous system over her dramatic impulses.
Let me give you an analogy that will make perfect sense of this dynamic. Maggie's situation with Cal and Liam is exactly like ordering a plain, dry kale salad at a restaurant, when what your soul actually wants is a spicy jalapeno margarita with a thick tagine rim.
Oh my God, the salad.
Yes, the salad. Listen to me. Sure, the kale salad is good for your health. It is sensible. It won't give you a debilitating hangover the next day. It provides stable nutrients. Cal is the kale salad.
I love kale salad.
But you are going to be sitting at that restaurant table, chewing on those dry, bitter leaves, staring across the room at the person drinking the spicy margarita, and you are going to be fundamentally bored out of your mind. Liam is the spicy margarita. He will absolutely ruin your life. Tomorrow you will wake up with a migraine and regrets, but tonight is going to be electric.
That is the most toxic analogy I have ever heard in my entire life, and I absolutely hate that it makes perfect, undeniable sense. You are basically advocating for her to ruin her life for the plot. You want her to drink the toxic margarita.
I am advocating for honesty.
Yeah.
She doesn't want the salad.
Yeah.
She is forcing herself to eat the salad because she thinks it's what she should want. And we see this exact same theme of complacency mirrored in the professional storyline, too. Look at Dr. Quincy.
Quincy, the absolute worst man in Nova Scotia.
Quincy represents extreme, dangerous professional complacency. He relies on his first base instinct, diagnosing Tracy with asthma, and he outright refuses to investigate any further. He won't even entertain the idea of GERD.
Because he's lazy.
Why? Because he is completely comfortable in his superiority. Investigating a new diagnosis requires effort, it requires running tests, and most importantly, it requires admitting you might not know everything. He is settling for mediocrity in his medical practice because he is terrified of being challenged by a younger, smarter female doctor. Complacency is rotting that town from the inside out.
Wow. The parallel between romantic complacency and professional complacency. Your brain is terrifyingly analytical sometimes. It makes me wonder, what would happen if we actually went there?
What do you mean?
I mean, inserting ourselves into the town of Timberlake, I think about this all the time. I wish, for just one moment, we could pack our bags, run away to the crossing, shut off our cell phones, and just stare at the northern lights. I genuinely, delusionally believe I would thrive in that environment.
You are lying to yourself and you are lying to the listeners.
I am not. I would be amazing at it. I would buy a customized axe. I would learn how to chop wood aesthetically. I would invest in an entire wardrobe consisting solely of chunky, oversized cable knit sweaters from LL Bean.
You hate being outdoors.
I would bake artisanal sourdough bread. I would have romantic picnics by the lake. And I would completely 100% detox from city stress, the horrors of modern dating, and the tyranny of dental hygiene lectures. I would be a woodland goddess.
Be so entirely brutally real with me right now. Let's look at the historical data of our personalities. We would last exactly 12 hours in Timberlake before the silence became physically deafening.
12 hours. You give us half a day.
12 hours, max. You would chop exactly one piece of wood, get a microscopic splinter, demand a tetanus shot, and realize Dr. Quincy is the only physician on call, which would send you into a panic spiral.
Okay, that's fair.
Then, because we have zero actual outdoor survival skills and a pathological, deeply ingrained need for constant mental stimulation, we would get bored. We would march straight down to the outpost, start aggressively gossiping with Edna over the coffee pot, and by dinner time we would have accidentally ruined someone's marriage just to have something interesting to talk about.
Okay, that is entirely fair. I would absolutely be in Edna's ear asking about the divorce papers. Edna, did you see the font on that fax? Do you think Liam hired a cheap lawyer? I couldn't help myself. I am a messy person.
We both are.
But wait, what would we do about Sully? Because the fans are really feeling his absence. The show feels a little empty without him holding court at the outpost.
It does. The gravitational pull of the town is a little off without him there to grumble at people.
If we lived there, I wouldn't just sit around waiting for him to come back. I would book a direct flight to Ireland. I would track Sully down in whatever obscure pub he is hiding in, confront him, and drag him back to Nova Scotia, just for the sheer drama of it all.
Your daughter is spiraling with two men and a fax machine. Get in the car, Sully.
You would fly across the Atlantic Ocean for a confrontation. That completely tracks with your emotional reactions. I, on the other hand, would take a much more calculated, capitalistic approach to Sully's absence. While he is wandering around Ireland feeling sorry for himself, I would orchestrate a hostile corporate takeover of the outpost.
A hostile takeover of a general store.
Absolutely. I would look at Edna, I would slide a spreadsheet across the counter, and I would say, the flannel and bait business model is horribly outdated. And I would completely rebrand the outpost as a franchise Dunkin'. Oh my God.
Think about the logistics. The profit margins on iced coffee. In a town full of emotionally exhausted lumberjacks who wake up at 5 a.m., we would make millions. We would completely corner the market on caffeine, sugar, and local gossip.
We would be the true villains of season 5. The Snark side takes Timberlake. I love it. But since we are unfortunately stuck here in the studio and not running a monopoly in Nova Scotia, let's move to our final and my absolute favorite topic. The cozy conspiracies.
Since the writers of this show absolutely refuse to give us any actual answers and just keep interrupting major confessions with phone calls and fevers, it is time for us to make up our own reality.
Yes, throwing out unexpected, slightly unhinged, but low-key believable theories about the show's biggest mysteries. And I am coming out of the gate hot today. Babes, listen to my theory and keep an open mind.
Prepare yourself. The delusion is about to hit its absolute peak.
Do not mock me. This makes total sense. My theory is that Liam was kidnapped.
Kidnapped. You were going with kidnapping.
Kidnapped and tortured. Think about the evidence. Look at the board. This perfectly explains his sudden, inexplicable disappearance right after the wedding. It explains the 6-year absence with zero communication.
Sure it does.
It perfectly explains those mysterious raised keloid scars all over his back that he vehemently refuses to talk about. And think about the shady phone call in episode 4. I've been waiting for your call. He was a secret agent, or he was doing some highly dangerous underground investigative journalism on a cartel, and he was held hostage in a bunker in South America.
I'm staring at you right now with a mixture of profound awe and deep, genuine concern for your grip on reality.
It makes sense. He couldn't contact Maggie because reaching out to her would put her life in danger. He ghosted her to protect her from the cartel. He isn't a coward. He is a dark, tortured hero who sacrificed his own happiness to keep her safe.
I completely, unequivocally, and aggressively disagree with every single syllable you just spoke. Let me bring you back down to planet Earth. I will sarcastically point out that we are watching a cozy Canadian small-town romance show on a wholesome network.
So?
We are not watching a Jason Bourne espionage thriller. There are no international cartels operating out of Timberlake. There are no underground bunkers.
Then explain the scars, explain the ghosting. You can't.
I absolutely can. I will give you the much more believable, deeply petty, and realistically male theory. Liam went on a completely normal journalism assignment, maybe a minor conflict zone, maybe just a slightly dangerous hike in the mountains. He got injured,
Oh,
a
yeah.
rock slide, a bad fall. He got those scars.
Okay, okay.
And because his entire personality and identity is wrapped up in being a tough, capable, rugged guy, he felt profoundly emasculated by the injury. He felt weak. He didn't want his brand new, highly successful, big city doctor wife to see him broken and requiring intensive care.
So he just didn't come back, out of pride.
Exactly. He let his fragile male pride completely paralyze him. And the longer he waited to call her, the harder it became to explain why he hadn't called, until eventually the shame compounded on itself and he just permanently ghosted her. Because he is fundamentally a coward with a massive communication deficit. He isn't a secret agent protecting her from assassins. He's an emotionally stunted man avoiding a deeply awkward conversation about his own vulnerability.
That is so depressing and honestly probably way more accurate than my hostage theory, but it makes me so incredibly bad. Just communicate, send a text.
Men would literally rather vanish into the wilderness for 6 years and develop keloid scars than go to couples therapy. This is a scientifically known fact. But here's the real conspiracy we need to talk about. The massive, glaring plot hole that the fan forums have been tearing apart all week.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say.
How did Liam even know to come looking for the annulment paperwork?
Babes, this is the biggest mystery of all. Maggie and Liam literally never spoke for 6 years. They had zero contact. Maggie filed for the annulment a full year after he left.
Right.
So how, 6 years later, does Liam suddenly show up in Timberlake, knowing exactly where she is, knowing that the annulment wasn't finalized properly, and asking for her signature on divorce papers?
Someone tipped him off. He didn't just wake up one morning with a psychic intuition about his marital status. He didn't magically have the paperwork. Someone in Maggie's orbit, someone who knew about the secret marriage and the failed annulment, had to have contacted him.
But who? Cal didn't know until picnic, so it wasn't him. Sully hates Liam, so he wouldn't reach out. Who would go out of their way to contact Liam?
Look at the suspects. Could it be Quincy, trying to dig up dirt on his new resident to force her out of the clinic? Unlikely he's too self-absorbed to do that kind of deep research. Could it be someone from Maggie's old life in Boston? A jealous ex-colleague trying to blow up her new peaceful life in the country?
What if it was, oh my God, what if it was Sydney? What if Sydney found out through some snooping and in a moment of pure chaotic boredom, tracked him down and messaged him on Instagram?
That is unhinged, but honestly, I wouldn't put it past anyone in this town. The point is, there is a puppet master pulling the strings behind the scenes here, and Liam is just the scarred, brooding pawn they sent to blow up Maggie's life.
My brain is spinning. The theories are too much. I cannot wait for episode 5. I need answers, and I need them immediately, without anyone's phone ringing to interrupt the climax.
We will be waiting with bated breath, elevated cortisol, and a fresh box of donut holes.
Which brings me to a really interesting final thought before we wrap up. We've spent all this time analyzing the lies they tell each other, the stalling, the secrets. But what if the real villain of Timberlake isn't the deception?
Who is it then?
What if the real villain is the isolation they've all actively chosen? They all retreated to this small town to heal, but by cutting themselves off from the real world, they've just trapped themselves in an echo chamber with their own unhealed wounds. Small towns don't magically fix your trauma. Sometimes they just give you a more scenic backdrop to suffer in.
A profound and terrifying thought to leave us with. Geography does not cure psychology.
And speaking of geography, I am looking at the clock, and we need to change our location. Babes, we are out of time.
The time has come to face the harsh reality of our evening plans.
Thank you so much, loudly and aggressively, to the entire Snark squad for hanging out and spiraling with us today. You are the absolute best, and we love reading every single one of your unhinged theories in the comments.
Keep them coming. It fuels us. And as always, please do us a massive favor. If you enjoyed this hour of absolute chaos, share the show with your messiest friend. You know exactly the one I'm talking about.
Definitely.
Send them the link. And please rate and review the show wherever you were listening. 5 stars only, because our egos are currently as fragile as Dr. Quincy's.
Yes, share the mess.
And babes, the dread is officially setting in. The facials are calling our names. But that mother-daughter wine tasting is looming on the horizon like a dark storm cloud.
It really is the perfect poetic full circle moment. Well, babes, we started this morning as soft girls, manifesting absolute peace with our hazelnut iced coffees, and now Now we are fully worked up, completely stressed over fictional divorce papers, and aggressively preparing for 3 hours of wine, cheese, and maternal chaos tonight. Balance. It is the ultimate balance. Pray for us, babes. Pray the Gouda doesn't break our spirits.
We will survive. We always do.
We love you so much. Get your iced coffees, get your donut holes, and have the absolute best weekend ever. Ready?
Ready.
Stay soft.
Stay chaotic.
And we will see you on the Snark side.